Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. First, the headlines. Around 612,000 male and female voters will head tomorrow to voting centers in all wilayas of the Sultanate to elect Shura Council members for the 8th term. Chairman and members of Higher Committee for Shura Council elections check the readiness of voting centers in the Governorate of the Sultanate. And local and international media attention is given to cover the Shura Council election for the 8th term. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. Around 612,000 male and female voters will head tomorrow to voting centers in all wilayas of the Sultanate to elect Shura Council members for the 8th term. Some 107 election centers will open tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. for voters to elect 85 members from 590 male and female candidates. The electoral centers were distributed and their locations were chosen as per population density and its suitability in terms of accessibility. The election committees completed its preparedness today for the election day through several technical and organizational preparations to enable voters to cast their votes in an easy way. The significance of Shura Council membership election for the 8th term lies on the challenges facing the current period of the Blessed Renaissance March as the Sultanate prepares for the 9th five-year development plan 2016-2020 and plans for future vision of the Omani economy 2040. The Shura Council was given monitoring and legislative powers to undertake its role in decision-making that serve Oman and its people and to support the government in implementing continuous development plans. His Excellency Sheikh Khalid bin Rashid Al Manwari, Chairman of the Higher Committee for the Shura Council members' elections for the 8th term, visited today Khawla bint Hakim School in the Wilaya of Salala in the Governorate of Dhofar to check the readiness of centers for tomorrow's election process going to be witnessed by the Sultanate. The committee during the visit also checked the preparations of entrance and exits and the voting halls, in addition to the review of the election process. The committee also inspected the computers, voting cabins, and ballot boxes. His Excellency Sheikh Saeed bin Rashid Al Kalbani, member of Higher Committee for the Shura Council elections for the 8th term, visited these two election centers in the Governorate of Al Buraimi to review the final preparations for the Shura Council elections in the Wilaya. He reviewed the readiness of the two centers. Saeed bin Muhammad Al-Kalbani, member of the Higher Committee for Election, visited today the election center in the school of Naim bin Masoud in the Wilaya of Sohar in the Governorate of North Batna, within the visits of the Higher Committee for Shura Council elections for the 8th term in the Sultanate. During the visit, the committee reviewed the current preparation, special work plan of the election process, and the readiness of the center to elect Shura Council members for the 8th term. His Excellency Sheikh Dr. Mohammed bin Abdullah Al Hashmi, member of the Higher Committee for the Shura Council members' elections, visited today the election center in the school of Al Bashir bin Al Mundhir in the Wilaya of Nizwa to review the final preparations for the elections of the Shura Council for the 8th term. His Excellency reviewed the final preparations for the election, namely the voting halls, and supplied them with the needed computers and ballot boxes, in addition to visiting halls to ensure the readiness of the election committees working in this national event. The seventh term for Shura Council 2011-2015 was a main station for Omani Shura March as the council continued its works and achievements in several aspects. It discussed several topics and causes that touched the aspirations of the Omani society. The council also hosted a number of their excellencies, the ministers, and approved a number of recommendations and decisions which came after profound study conducted by the council's permanent committees as per its functions, such as draft law on competition protection and monopoly prevention, consumer protection law, amendments on the provisions of traffic law, and the commercial agency law. The council also approved 11 framework agreements on economic, commercial, and investment cooperation and double taxation avoidance with a number of countries and organizations. Partnership and consultation is part of Omani traditions, strengthened by serious and studied approach by a wise leader from his first year of accession to power. He established pillars of nation building, top of which was Shura system and the significance of citizen participation in political, social, and economic decision-making. Over 2.5 decades, the institutions of Shura have been built gradually with careful and studied openness to human experiments. Through its previous terms, the Shura March has developed through tireless works and wise visions and views that enabled it to be given more new powers. It is hoped that the new term of the Council will witness a qualitative leap in the legislative and monitoring fields within several challenges: the political situation in the Arab region and the decline in oil prices and its effects on the state fiscal budget. The new members are expected to put a comprehensive development vision for the Council to lead the Shura March to keep pace with the targeted aims of the establishment of the Council as part of the Council of Oman. Great care accorded by His Majesty Sultan Qaboos to Omani women that enabled them to contribute to nation building in all fields, professions, and decision-making posts. In 1994, the Omani women's efforts were crowned with the first participation in Shura Council, as 2 women won the membership in the council for that term in the governorate of Muscat. The success in giving women in Muscat the chance to be candidates for Shura Council membership election led to opening the door for women in all governments of the Sultanate to elect and be candidates, as well starting from the 3rd term of the Shura Council. 2 women won 2 seats in the council. A qualitative step was witnessed by the 4th term of the council 2000 to 2003, as the number of voters was the only standard to win Shura Council membership, and the women's participation in election registered an increase by 30% of the total voters, which enabled 2 candidates to achieve the council's membership. In the 5th term also, 2 women won the council's membership by direct voting by citizens. In the 6th term, no woman succeeded in joining the council. In the 7th term, 2011 to 2015, women won only 1 seat in the council. Some 20 candidates compete to join Shura Council for the upcoming term. Various types of media coverage means from an important component to introduce candidates for Shura Council membership, their goals and their elective programs. Ways of election coverage developed and varied to open a scope for Shura Council candidates to present their election programs. They also opened a chance for voters to get close with their candidates and to know their background information and goals through flexboards, printed leaflets, and face-to-face communications. Shura candidates mostly use electronic and social media network to deliver their message to the large number of society members. His Excellency Sayyid Hamoud bin Faisal Al Busaidi, Minister of Interior, opens tonight at Muscat Intercontinental Hotel and Media Center. It is meant for providing media services for journalists and media personnel who cover the Shura Council election for the 8th term. It is worth mentioning that print and audio-visual media means completed their preparations to cover the event tomorrow. Editing halls of local newspapers work day and night to cover the biggest election event in the Sultanate. 107 voting centers will be opened for more than 600,000 voters. A team was formed to cover the election process and to coordinate with the correspondents in all governorates of the Sultanate. Tweeters from their side interacted with Shura event through social media networks. Omani tweeters through their tweets showed to the world their cultural awareness and aspirations toward candidates who represent them in the Shura Council for the 8th term. Tweeters mostly interacted by sending hashtags to exchange their aspirations and viewpoints under the theme Vote for the Interest of Oman. 4 leading local newspapers allocated prime space for the Shura event. And now for the general weather forecast. Clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate with high clouds over the northern governorates and accumulative clouds over the Hajar Mountains and the nearby areas, with chances of scattered rains. Wind will be easterly to northeasterly light to moderate along the coastal areas of the Sea of Oman. Rest of the Sultanate, it will be southeasterly light to moderate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Around 612,000 male and female voters will head tomorrow to voting centers in all wilayas of the Sultanate to elect Shura Council members for the 8th term. Chairman and members of the Higher Committee for Shura Council elections check the readiness of voting centers in the governorates of the Sultanate. And local and international media attention is given to cover the Shura Council election for the 8th term. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.